Chapter 1: The Arrival. My name is Emma. I am a nurse from London. Today, I arrive in New York to start a new job at a busy hospital. As I step off the plane, a rush of cold air greets me. The airport is crowded, filled with people hurrying in all directions. I grip my suitcase tightly and take a deep breath. This is my fresh start, my chance to prove myself. But everything feels strange: the accents, the energy, the fast-paced life. I have dreamed of this moment for so long, but now that I am here, it feels overwhelming. I follow the signs toward the taxi stand and step outside. Yellow cabs line the road, their drivers calling out for passengers. I slide into one and give the driver my address. As we move through the city, I stare out of the window. Tall buildings rise around me, their lights shining in the evening sky. People walk quickly on the sidewalks, bundled up in coats. The streets are loud, alive with honking cars and distant sirens. New York feels like a different world compared to London. The taxi stops in front of a small apartment building in Brooklyn. I step out, my suitcase rolling behind me. The neighborhood is quieter than I expected. A few people walk past, lost in their own thoughts. I unlock the door to my new apartment and step inside. The room is small but clean, just a bed, a table, and a window overlooking the street. I sit on the bed and let out a deep breath. This is home now. It feels empty, unfamiliar. But I remind myself every new beginning feels this way. I open my suitcase and start unpacking. Each item I pull out brings a memory of home: my favorite sweater, my journal, a framed photo of my parents. I miss them already. I reach for my phone and send a quick message to my mother: I arrived safely. Everything is fine. A reply comes instantly: we love you. Be strong. Her words bring comfort, but also a deep longing for home. As I lie down, exhaustion takes over. My eyes feel heavy, but sleep does not come easily. My mind races with thoughts about work, about whether I made the right decision, about the challenges ahead. I remind myself why I am here, why I chose this path. Tomorrow, a new chapter begins. I close my eyes, hoping that when I wake up, New York will feel a little less foreign and a little more like home. Chapter 2: First Steps. Morning arrives too soon. The sound of traffic outside wakes me up before my alarm does. I sit up, rubbing my eyes. Today is my first full day in the city, and I have so much to do. First, I need to find my way to the hospital where I will be working. I take a quick shower, put on a warm coat, and step outside. The cold air bites my skin, but I welcome it. It makes me feel awake, alive. I walk down the street, taking in my surroundings. Small coffee shops line the sidewalks, their doors swinging open as people rush in for their morning drinks. Street vendors sell bagels and hot pretzels. Everything moves fast, people walk quickly, cars speed by. Conversations blend into a constant hum. I feel like an outsider, but I tell myself that soon, this city will feel familiar. At the subway station, I struggle with the ticket machine. A man behind me sighs impatiently, and I quickly step aside to let him go first. Finally, I get my ticket and step onto the train. The ride is crowded and noisy, but I watch the people around me, some reading, some lost in thought, others staring at their phones. No one talks. Everyone is focused on their own world. When I arrive at the hospital, I stop for a moment to take it all in. The large glass doors, the nurses in blue uniforms walking in and out, the steady flow of ambulances. My heart pounds with nerves, but also excitement. This is where I will spend most of my days. Helping people, making a difference. I step forward, ready to begin this new chapter. As I enter the hospital, I am greeted by a kind-looking woman at the reception desk. "You must be Emma," she says with a smile. "Welcome. Let me show you around." Her warmth puts me at ease. As we walk through the busy hallways, I feel a mix of emotions: nervousness, excitement, determination. This is my dream, and it is finally real. I take a deep breath, ready to face whatever comes next. Chapter 3, First Day. I wake up early, the alarm ringing loudly in my small apartment. My first day at the hospital has arrived, and my heart pounds with both excitement and nervousness. I quickly get dressed in my uniform, making sure everything looks neat. After grabbing a quick breakfast, I step outside into the cold morning air. The streets are already busy, with people rushing to work. I take a deep breath and head toward the subway station. The hospital is even bigger than I remember from my visit yesterday. As I walk through the entrance, the strong smell of disinfectant fills my nose. Nurses and doctors move quickly, their voices blending into a steady hum of activity. My supervisor, Ms. Carter, greets me at the front desk. "Emma, you're on time. Good. Follow me." I nod and walk beside her, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing on my shoulders. She gives me a tour of the different departments, introducing me to some of the staff. Everyone looks focused, busy with their tasks. There's no time for small talk. I am assigned to assist in the general ward, where patients recover after surgeries and treatments. My first task is simple: checking vital signs and ensuring patients are comfortable. But as I walk into the first room, my hands feel shaky. What if I make a mistake? The morning passes quickly, and by midday, I start feeling more confident. I help an elderly woman adjust her pillow, change a patient's bag under supervision, and take careful notes. The fear begins to fade as I realize I know what I'm doing. I trained for this. By the time my shift ends, exhaustion washes over me, but I feel proud. My first day was not perfect, but it was a start. Chapter 4, A Tough Night. As the sun sets, I realize how tired I am. My body aches, and my feet feel sore from standing all day. But I have another shift tonight. I'm assigned to the emergency ward. I grab a quick coffee and head back inside, preparing myself for the unpredictable night ahead. The emergency ward is completely different from the general ward. The energy is intense, fast-paced. Patients arrive with all kinds of injuries: broken bones, deep cuts, severe fevers. Doctors give rapid instructions. Nurses move quickly, and I struggle to keep up. Within the first hour, I help wheel a patient into surgery, hold a crying child's hand, and assist in cleaning wounds. There's no time to breathe. No time to think. At one point, a young man is rushed in after a car accident. Blood covers his shirt, and his breathing is weak. My heart pounds as I help the team stabilize him, following their instructions as best as I can. Stay focused. MS. Carter reminds me. Panic won't help anyone. I nod, pushing my fear aside. The patient is taken into surgery, and we move on to the next case. By midnight, exhaustion threatens to take over, but I refuse to slow down. This is what I came here for, to help, to learn, to grow. The night feels endless, but when my shift finally ends, I step outside and take a deep breath of the cold night air. I made it through my first tough night. It wasn't easy, but I know this is just the beginning. Chapter 5, A New Challenge. The next morning, my whole body aches, but there's no time to rest. I arrive at the hospital earlier than usual, determined to prove myself. Today, I am assigned to the intensive care unit (ICU), where patients are in critical condition. The moment I step inside, the air feels heavy, filled with the sound of beeping monitors and hushed voices. The atmosphere is different, more serious, more intense. MS. Carter gives me a quick rundown of my tasks. You'll be assisting with medication, monitoring vitals, and keeping records, she says. I nod, taking deep breaths to calm my nerves. As I move through the ward, I see patients hooked up to machines, some unconscious, others barely able to speak. One elderly man tries to lift his hand, his voice weak. I gently hold his fingers and offer a reassuring smile. Even the smallest comfort matters. Halfway through my shift, an emergency arises. A patient's heart rate drops suddenly. Nurses and doctors rush to his side. My heart races as I watch them work quickly, adjusting medication, checking monitors, doing everything to stabilize him. For a second, fear grips me. What if I make a mistake? But then I remember my training. I take a deep breath and do exactly as I'm told. By the time my shift ends, I feel drained but accomplished. The ICU is not easy, but I am learning fast. As I step outside the hospital, the fresh air feels like a reward. Each day here pushes me to be stronger, to face challenges without fear. I know there will be harder days ahead, but I am ready for them. Chapter 6, An Unexpected Bond. Another long day begins, and today, I am back in the general ward. My first task is to check on a young girl named Lily, who has been recovering from surgery. She looks up at me with tired eyes but manages a small smile. "You're new here," she says softly. I nod and sit beside her. "Yes, I'm Emma. How are you feeling today?" Lily sighs, her fingers tracing the blanket. "A little better, but I miss home." Her voice is sad, and I can't help but feel for her. She is only 8 years old, too young to spend her days in a hospital bed. I glance around her room and notice a book on her table. "Do you like stories?" I ask. Her face lights up, and she nods. I love them. For the next few minutes, I read to her, watching as her eyes grow bright with excitement. She asks questions, giggles at funny parts, and for the first time, I see her forget about her pain. As I close the book, she whispers, "Will you read to me again tomorrow?" My heart melts at her words. Of course. I promise. As the day goes on, I realize something important. Being a nurse isn't just about medicine. It's about connection, kindness, and making patients feel cared for. That night, as I walk home, I think about Lily's smile and how such small moments can make a big difference. For the first time, I don't just feel like a nurse, I feel like I belong here. Chapter 7, A Difficult Decision. The next morning, I arrive at the hospital feeling a little more confident. But as soon as I step into the ward, I sense the tension in the air. Nurses whisper in small groups, and doctors walk quickly, their faces serious. I find Ms. Carter, who looks unusually tense. "Emma, we have a situation," she says. "One of our elderly patients, Mr. Dawson, has refused further treatment. He wants to go home." I glance at the file in my hand. Mr. Dawson has been in the hospital for weeks, battling a severe illness. His condition is fragile, and leaving could put his life at risk. I take a deep breath and walk to his room. He is sitting up in bed, looking out the window. "Mr. Dawson," I say gently, "are you sure about your decision?" He turns to me with tired eyes. "I appreciate everything you've done, Emma," he says, his voice weak but firm. "But I want to spend my last days at home, not in a hospital." His words make my chest tighten. I know we can't force him to stay, but I worry about what will happen once he leaves. I sit beside him, holding his hand. "I understand," I whisper. "We'll do everything we can to make sure you're comfortable." By the end of my shift, arrangements are made for his transfer home. As I watch him leave, I feel a strange mix of sadness and peace. I am learning that being a nurse isn't just about saving lives, it's also about respecting choices, even when they are difficult. Chapter 8, A Long Night. That evening, just as I am about to leave, a call comes from the emergency room. They need extra hands. Exhausted but determined, I rush downstairs. The ER is chaotic, patients on stretchers, doctors giving orders, machines beeping. I barely have time to catch my breath before I am assigned to help with a young man injured in a car accident. His face is pale, his clothes torn, and blood stains his arm. "We need to stop the bleeding," a doctor says, and I quickly assist. My hands shake slightly, but I focus. This is what I was trained for. We clean the wound, apply pressure, and work as fast as possible. Slowly, his condition stabilizes. I sigh in relief. The night stretches on with more emergencies, children with fevers, a woman in labor, an elderly man struggling to breathe. Every second is critical. Every decision matters. By the time the sun begins to rise, I feel like I've lived a lifetime in one night. As I step outside, the cold morning air fills my lungs. I am exhausted, but I don't regret staying. In these moments, I see the true weight of my job, the urgency, the responsibility, the emotions. I know not every day will be this intense, but I also know that each day in this hospital changes me in ways I never expected. Chapter 9, A Heartfelt Goodbye. The hospital feels quieter than usual the next morning, but my body is still heavy with exhaustion. As I check my schedule, a familiar name catches my eye, Mr. Dawson. My heart sinks. I rush to find Miss Carter, who confirms my fears. He passed away early this morning, she says softly. Even though I knew it was coming, the news still hits me hard. I take a moment alone, thinking about my last conversation with him. He wanted to be home, surrounded by family. At least he got his wish. Still, I feel a lump in my throat. Did I do enough? Did I say the right things? These thoughts stay with me as I move through my day. Later, I find a small envelope on the nurse's desk with my name written in shaky handwriting. It's a note from Mr. Dawson's daughter, thanking me for the kindness I showed her father. You made his last days easier, she wrote. Tears blur my vision. Maybe I couldn't save him, but I was there when it mattered. And maybe that's enough. As I step outside for a break, the sun is shining brightly. Life moves on. People laugh. Cars honk. The world doesn't stop. But something inside me shifts. I realize that being a nurse isn't just about treating illnesses, it's about making even the hardest moments meaningful. Chapter 10, Finding Purpose. The days pass, and I start feeling more at home in the hospital. The once overwhelming hallways now feel familiar. The beeping machines, the hurried footsteps, the voices of patients, they no longer make me nervous. Instead, they remind me why I'm here. One evening, as I prepare to leave, a little girl in a hospital bed waves at me. She's been here for weeks, battling an illness with a courage that amazes me. Will you be here tomorrow, Nurse Emma? She asks with hopeful eyes. I smile and nod. Of course, I say, and I mean it. Walking home, I think about my journey, from the nervous girl who stepped off the plane to the nurse who now feels a deep connection to this place. It hasn't been easy, and there were moments I wanted to give up. But now, I see the truth. Nursing isn't just a job. It's a calling. It's about being there for people when they need you the most. As I unlock my apartment door, I feel something I haven't felt in a long time: peace. New York isn't just a city anymore. It's home. And I know, no matter how difficult the days ahead might be, I am exactly where I am meant to be.